Welcome to the Wing Life Podcast, where we talk about wing foiling and the lifestyles of those who enjoy this great sport.
Well, hey, Xavi, thanks for joining me on the show today. Looking forward to chatting, and it's great to meet you. And heck of a lot of accomplishments for 16. Props to you. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, thanks. It's great to be in this meeting too. I mean, can't wait to chat a bit about the wing world and everything else.
Yes, the wing world is brand new, but it's growing pretty quickly. When was your entry into water sports out of gotten you into wing foiling?
Well, actually, I was 7 years old when I first started kite surfing.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, quite a funny story where like no schools would allow me to go on the lessons. They just wouldn't let me. They said I was too light. They didn't have the insurance if I would fly away. So they wouldn't take me in. And then one of my dad's friend, who was a great kite surfer, gave me a few lessons, and that's where I started.
Wow. So you started at 7. Yeah, I think the limit here was like 8 or 9 years old, and you had to weigh a certain weight or else the kite could loft you, and that's pretty sweet. So you started on trainer kite and then went from there?
Actually, it started on an inflatable kite. It was an air rush. It was one of the first air rush kites. It was a 3 meter, and yeah, that thing was just my feet weren't touching the ground. I was just, the guy was holding me on the harness, and I was flying from one side to the other, having the best time of my life.
Did you feel kind of hooked pretty right away then?
Yeah, it's just like this adrenaline rush, as soon as you got hooked on and it started putting you off, I was like, oh, I'm not gonna, I'm always gonna do this sport for the rest of my life.
Oh, that's cool. So how many years, I guess, did you do that until you ran into wing foiling? Like, how'd you find wing foiling for the first time?
Well, to be honest, it's quite a funny story. So I used to do a lot of strapless kiting, and I was aiming to compete as a strapless kiter. We didn't have much waves where I live in Tarifa. Really good for the wind, so it's good for freestyle and everything else, but didn't have much waves. And the competitions were looking for more wave riders, and I just didn't have that base. So I then saw this wing thing ages ago, like 4 or 5 years ago. And I was like, oh, this is ridiculous. Who's going to do this? Ridiculous. Yeah. And then one of my friends got one too. And I was just making so much fun of him, like, come on, why are you doing this? That's just like, that's a wussy sport, no power, no anything. And then he said, give it a go. So I gave it a quick go. And I had been doing kite foiling before, so I knew how the foil would work, but I never did a bit of windsurfing, so I didn't know how it would feel. And loads of people say it feels like windsurfing. And I hopped on, and it took me about 20 minutes, and I was just on the foil. And I was like, oh, it's pretty cool, but not my thing. So I left it for 2 weeks. I'm not going to do it. And then one of the local schools was like, oh, we'll give you a few lessons if you want. So I got a few lessons, and I was still super light back then. And they set me out in 45 plus knots on a 2 meter.
Whoa.
And a big board. Yeah. Still didn't know how to go on wind back then. So I was walking up with this instructor, and the board was just like an umbrella, it's just like pulling us down. We were trying to walk up. But yeah, it's pretty fun. And then I actually just got attached. I was like, oh, it's a pretty cool thing for light wind. And then ever since then, I just always wanted to improve. I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to first do my jump, then I'm going to do my jibe. And then ever since then, I'm like, I've just been hooked. And especially that gliding feeling, where you can just let go of the wing and you have no power and you're just gliding for ages on a one wave. You know what I mean? It's what I love the most.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah. How was your first ever foil session kiting? Like, how long did it take you to get a handle on that beast? Because kite foiling's hard.
Yeah, that took me ages because it's really hard, and the kite has so much power, and I just kept reaching out. I just go flying up, or I would just go too fast. The kite's too low, and it just starts pulling you, and you're like, what do I do? You know what I mean? And I was so scared of the foil back then. I was like, it's like a razor sharp knife.
Yes.
But to be honest, a lot of people think it's scary, but I've only been hit once by the foil, and to be honest, there has been some bad injuries, but it doesn't happen that much often. Most people ask me, oh, is this going to affect you? Is this going to hurt you in any way? Are you going to fall onto it? And to be honest, I haven't fallen onto it that bad. I haven't gone to the hospital after any injuries.
And you're pulling some decent tricks. You're racing as well.
Yeah.
So like you're doing a bunch of crazy gnarly stuff. So it's nice to hear because yeah, a lot of people are a little bit afraid of it, but you're right. It doesn't happen as often if we take some precautions. And so what was your first big accomplishment that you felt personally when you were learning how to wing foil, that other than the glide, like as soon as you felt glide, you're like, okay, this is like, I'm going to keep doing this and progress from there?
Yeah, well, yeah. As soon as I felt like something new to learn, I was getting a bit of sick of kiting, and I was like, oh, this could be something fun to work on aside of kite surfing. And then it just became a full time thing. And I bought my first bit of gear. It was like a boom wing, and a pretty old Armstrong foil. Actually, it was a HS 1250, which was quite big back then, but for me it was perfect. And a custom board, because every size board was more than 80 liters, because everyone was still learning it. That it was that neat. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. That's true, actually.
So it was like the normal was everyone was going on 1,500. I mean, that was the normal. If you think about it. And now 1,500 is for like beginner wings. They made that as beginner wings. It shows like how much it's progressed.
It's crazy, especially what did you see growing up in Tarifa and one of the wind meccas? Like, how was that even through? Because you started super young at 7, so i.e., wind was all around you, I guess, eh?
Yeah. It was. Well, to be honest, it began quite late. The wind, it didn't come in as soon as Hawaii or some other spots, but as soon as it came in, I think it took about 4 weeks and before it got to 10 people, and another 4 weeks before it got to double of that. And now, to be honest, I think in most of the popular beaches, I think there's more wingers now than kiters, because I think kiting with the lines and everything in such a busy beach too. There's so many people coming all around the world to come to Tarifa, and there's so many kiters, so many learners, so many people that don't know really all the rules. And also, it's great fun to go on the wing with such strong or light conditions. It can work for both, and Tarifa happens in both. It comes super strong or really light, and I think the wing just gaps that together. So you can just go out in both conditions and enjoy both conditions. So I think it's exploded, and there's so many young growns is coming out. I mean, there's 10-year-old, 8-year-olds, and it's crazy. It's like there's so many wingers.
Yeah, there's wingers everywhere. Like I'm in La Ventana, Mexico right now, and it's a split with either 70-year-olds or like 15-year-olds. It's pretty fun. But on tour, like, can you walk us through how you started? Did you think of competing, or was that something that just came as you progressed, or how did that happen?
Well, actually, so I used to compete strapless kiting in the national Spanish league. And I did all right on that, but not that bad. And then, it was pretty fun. And then then when the wing came, they were like, oh, let's do a league for that too. So let's do a few competitions. And so I was like, oh, I might give that a little quick try. It's like an hour from here. So I went there, and first competition, I came second. So I was pretty happy.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, my dad's like, oh, you got a bit of, looks like you got, you're pretty good at this thing. So I was like, yeah. So then the next thing came was the GWA in Tarifa. And I did really well on that too. I got ninth. So quite happy for my first debut for the GWA. And it started when I started getting my name, like people was like, okay, this is Xavi, blah, blah, blah. And then 6 months later, it was another Spanish competition league, and I won it, which really pushed me up. I was like, oh, okay, well, if I can do this, then I can for sure do really good in the GWA. So then I went to Legat in France for the first time ever. I mean, super strong, but it's the same as Tarifa, and I got equals 5th in Legat for my first time. And I was like, whoa, that was crazy. You know what I mean? I was like still 14. I think I was me and some other kids were the youngest. And it was pretty crazy. I was like, oh my God. And then winged a bit more, trained harder, was just training and training, also enjoying myself. And then next competition was in the Canary Islands in Lanzarote, which was a sick event. Waves, constant winds. And my first ever podium, I came 4th there. So super happy about that too.
Good start.
I mean, I was so happy. So I had a pretty good year. And then after that, I won my home spot in Tarifa, coming first for my age. So I had a really good year. And also in that year, in June, I came the under 16 freestyle and slalom world champion. So I was pretty stoked about that too.
All right. Congratulations, young man. Hell of a year.
Thank you. Yeah, I know.
Oh, wow. Okay. So when did your sponsors kind of start to, because you're riding for Armstrong now, and I love Army. Amazing brand, super stoked. What a great team over there. How did that relationship start to build?
Well, so my first ever sponsor was Eros and Starboard, and they were great. You know, they really supported me. They were giving me the gear and they were giving me the help. And I did great. And then I had to start using some foils, and because they didn't have foils small enough for me. They were just a bit too big. So I started using, Army and Nathan contacted me a year before. So a year before that, and said, "Oh, we really want you to join the Armstrong team." And I was like, not very sure because their wings weren't that good, but their foils were great, and I knew that. And so they sent me in one of the first ever MA 65s. And, you know, I was like looking, I was like, it doesn't look that good, but we'll give it a try because it's Armstrong. And there'd been this massive, rise about the HA 525, and everyone was like, "Oh, this is the next thing." But I saw them in, I was like, okay, it looks all right. And so then they gave me a few prototype tails, and I was just trying it out. So it's way better for the surf, but not as good as for freestyle. Then they sent me another prototype with the MA65. And I mean, that one was crazy. I mean, it was going so well. And I was like, whoa, this thing's crazy. I mean, and so I was like, okay, I'll start using your foils. So they sent me these more prototypes, and I was like, I can't get off these things. They were great for wave. I was using it for wave riding, for freestyling, and for big air. Everything for one. And it had great pop. I hadn't broken any. I'm still using my 1-year-old MA65s.
Hey, that goes to good engineering.
I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, it's gone through Pozo rocks. It's been going through a lot of rocks. So, I mean, it's got a few scratches on them, but I mean, it's working perfectly fine after you sand it. And then, they'd said, "Oh, we'd like you to try some wings and boards." I then met Cash, and Cash had given me one of his prototype boards. And I was like, "Whoa, this seems crazy for everything, that board, you know?" But I was still not sure about the wings, you know. I mean, I was like, "Oh, the wings might be a bit further behind," because they'd always be big on the foils, not as big on the wings.
Correct, yeah.
So then they sent me some prototypes on the wings. And I was like, whoa. Like, it's like they had booms on them, and they said, "Yeah, this is what we're going to try and make for you." And I was like, I was pretty impressed. It's like, these guys made it in 2 weeks' time. I was like, what the hell, you know? You see, it takes them months to develop a boom, material, how it works, and they made it 2 weeks' time. They sent it to me, and they said, "Give it a try. Tell us what you like it or not." And I literally hopped onto it. I did all my tricks, and I was like, "Well, this wing's working perfectly fine." And they said, "Okay, we can make every size if you want." And then I said, "All right, I'm going to think about it."
Good young businessman. Let me think about it, Army.
And it was like, I was talking to my dad about it. And to be honest, we were talking about like how Armstrong is like just exploded. Like Cash has made the Armstrong look really nice. Not only that, but it's just the products are really nicely engineered. They make everything in such a short time. I order a board and it comes in a week and a half. I mean, it's incredible. You know what I mean? You're like, whoa. You're like, this can't be the board, can it? And then you open it up and it's the board, and you're like, with the biggest smile. And and so then I said, my dad was talking about it, like, they're a great team. Nate and Army are so stoked. I mean, I'm talking to them all the time about feedback and everything. And they're like, yeah, we can do that. But what do you think about that? And it's like, it's like, it doesn't feel like they're my boss, but they feel like friends that want to help, push me, but also the wing, development and everything. They just want to make everything better. You know what I mean? They don't want to just stick on the MAs. They want to make the MAs even better. I mean, like, okay, we've made the MA so well, it's got so popular. I know everyone that lot has gone MA and loves it. and you know, it's the wing that everyone wants because it's just such a great wing. And then I was talking to Army and Nathan. I said, "Are we going to keep this?" You know, and they said, "You know, it's such a great wing, and when they make it even better." So you know, and they've just brought out the HA range. So they're always developing. You know, they've also just brought the S1 range, which is for the starters. They just, you know, they're thinking about everyone, not thinking about professionals like me, but thinking about beginners, intermediates, people who want to ride waves, people who want to just enjoy themselves. So yeah, I think they had really nice feeling. I had a nice feeling about them, and I said, you know, I was going to join them. And then I heard Bo was going to join them, and I was like, oh, I'm so joining now. You know what I mean?
She's awesome, man.
I was so stoked. Yeah, she's so funny, and also Cash is a great teammate too.
Yes, yeah. Cash just came on the show like last week, so it was a fun conversation with him actually.
Yeah, so he's got really, you know, he's really nice, super funny. I mean, it feels like family. You know what I mean? I mean, like, I feel like Bowie's like an older sister, and so is Cash like an older brother. You know what I mean? But like, you know, and that's cool. Like Nathan, Army are just like the dads. You know, they're just trying to make our life way better, make it way funner too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like it's just we can reminisce a little bit. Like, did you think even starting off a while ago that you would get this kind of big family community from around the world, like because you're on tour and stuff? Like, how does that compare to maybe the kids that are at school with you in Spain? How does that amplify?
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't even think I was going to make it this far. I thought I was going to do a few events each year, you know, maybe like a hometown event and just stay in the know. But, you know, I showed that I had the experience. I showed that I was like going to be able to compete. I showed that I had the skill and everything. And I showed that I was determined. And then, you know, I think the sponsors came through and they said, yeah, we'll support you and we'll support you through all the way. And if you keep doing well and you have fun, you know, that's the important. Like every sponsor or every brand just wants you to have fun. You know what I mean? That's the whole part of this is the whole thing about it. It's a sport and everyone's supposed to enjoy it. You know? It shouldn't be like you shouldn't feel too much pressure because, you know, everyone's just trying to help everyone. You know what I mean? It's just that kind of community. It's just like a surfer community. You know? Everyone wants to have a good wave, but also they want to share that wave and they also want to help everyone else. So I feel like compared to my other, like my friends who are still stuck in school, they say like, you know, they're so jealous because I'm going to Brazil, I'm going to all these spots. And I'm like, I'm still training my ass off, you know what I mean? Like I'm training so hard, like every day, or like going to the gym, eating healthy, then training, and then doing video analysis. I do all of that because it's important, you know what I mean? And it's to keep professional, but I still have fun. And I think like all my friends think it's like, oh, you're just going to walk on and just do this competition. But actually, if you want to do well in this competition, if you want to show that you're an athlete, then you got to do all these, you know, other stuff around it.
Yeah. So who are you? Do you have a coach that helps you? Because video analysis, let's dive into that a little bit right there, because that's a huge component to improving.
Yeah.
Who does that with you? A coach, your dad, other people?
My dad, he's great at it. You know?
Oh,
he spends
amazing.
hours looking at it, and so do I. And we pick out every little spot. You know, okay, you're doing that one. We slow everything down, and then the next day he comes out in the water with me on his wing. He's just learning how to do proper wing again. So
cool.
He used to be a kite surfer too.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, he helps me, and then we just hopefully we get that trick today, that day, or if not, it's going to be another day. And, you know, I think like video analysis is really important. And if you're going to compete professionally in the GWA, because you wouldn't notice, but actually do so many small little mistakes that if you just fix one of them, it could, you know, complete the whole trick. Or if you finish, like, I think because there's so much overload in the brain of thinking so many things that you don't notice the small little things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
point.
I think video analysis shows you, oh, you're not tucking your knee, you're not tucking your knees enough. You're not doing something that's like so quick and easy to change. Like it just changed everything. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So does your dad follow you? Like, how do you guys record? Or is this a top secret world tour champ?
It's pretty simple. He just sits in the water and I just come flying in, do my tricks. And then if he can spot it by his eye, he'll tell me, you're going too high or you're not going high enough. And I'll be like, okay, well then I'll focus on that. And then we go later and we see what we've done right and what we've done wrong. You know what I mean? So if I'm getting those tricks, well, how am I getting those tricks? And if I'm getting the tricks wrong, how am I getting them wrong? We compare.
Okay.
And then we can see everything. And it's just, I find it really interesting looking at it because it just, I enjoy it just looking at myself, showing, okay, well, that's what I'm going to do to improve my next, my next session. Well,
that's true. Yeah, that's true. Because looking at it from the different angles and having coach there in the water with you, like what was your first trick that you landed in freestyle? What was your first trick?
First trick that I ever landed was probably a frontside 3, which actually took me a lot longer than I expect. Again, I used video analysis. My dad helped me, and we just compared it to other riders. And to be honest, it did take a bit longer than what I expect. And it actually is a pretty hard trick to begin with. A lot of people think it's pretty easy, but I would say like one-hand tricks are much easier, like a backside 3 one-handed or, a twist-side 180, something simple. Because I feel like, to be honest, you get so much pull from the wing that it's hard to land. But to be honest, you'll always get there. Everyone gives up. Like my dad's trying to do it right now. And I said, it's taken me about 2 or 3 weeks. And it'll probably take you a bit longer, but I mean, you will get it. It just clicks. Just clicks like that and you get it. And then you never lose it again, you know what I mean?
Do you do stuff dryland training, like trampoline, whatever, with a wing first? Or do you kind of do it all in the water?
I do a lot of trampoline. It's one I love doing it. We've got a trampoline here and I love doing like little backflip corks. And I think it really helps in the wing too. And I will bring my wing, but it's quite hard to bring a wing on a trampoline.
Yeah, you're right.
But
you're right. Yeah. Okay, so that makes sense. So that goes into a bit deeper of learning how to do that stuff on land and then jumping into the water. What's your next move that you're working on? We don't need to say it if you want to keep some things in the bag, but no. Like it's crazy to look at, like even this recent competition, right? Like in Lucat that just happened. And gusting up to 60 knots, stalled fronts, all that kind of stuff, 1080s. Like, holy man.
Yeah, the tricks are going over the roof. No one knows what's going to happen next. I mean, this tricks just coming out every day. You look at a rider and, you saw that rider a few months ago and he's like, yeah, he's riding well. But you see him now and he's like, oh, he's riding well. He's a threat now in the competition. And everyone's just catching up really quickly. Used to be a really big difference like 2 years ago. Now everyone's, quite close together and it's just like points off, except for Chris, who's just in another level, He's so good. He's just very consistent, He can land every trick in every competition. And it just shows that he should be a winner, I mean, Malo has great style too. He can do loads of tricks and he was also a great big rider. But he's just not as consistent as Chris. I mean, Chris was doing 1080s in 60 knots. I could barely do anything, you know what I mean? I was like hanging on my dear life, just doing some stall fronts and the basic tricks. But I was like seeing him, I was like, how does he do that? You know what I mean?
Well, it happens like I've windsurfed in 40 knots and that everything happens fast, right? Like everything becomes light and it happens like this. Like how is doing a stalled forward in that much wind and like what size of wing were you on?
So I was on a 2 meter. It was pretty crazy. I've never been on such a small wing. I was talking about it with my dad because he said, yeah, it was crazy. And I was talking to my dad and he said, oh, you never use a 2.2 from Armstrong, they're too small, it's too small. It's too small for you. And I said, Dad, I promise you we're going to use it one day. So we ordered it and Army thought it was a great idea too. And me and Bo were just sharing that wing because, it was so strong. Even I think I could have gone out on a plastic bag. I mean, people could have gone out on a plastic bag and kind of went. Yeah. I mean, they had to stop the racing because it was so strong. The buoys were just flying away. The boat could barely just like stay there. Murder was just, they were putting full throttle on, they just weren't moving. So it was crazy. And then they made us go do freestyle and I was like, oh, I'm not going to do this today. And then they made us go out there and, I mean, to be honest, it was fun. I mean, I did some one of the highest ones I've ever done in my life there. I was just holding up and then just throwing it. And it was just the wing is just so small. You can just do so quick. But it was fun. And it was a great experience, At least I know that I can go out in 50 plus and,
And you guys are what, riding tractors through the water to get out to the event site or something?
Yeah, it was super flooded. I mean, it was crazy. It was like strong. The sand was like, you couldn't stand on the beach. No one could stand on the beach because it was just so strong, It was just like hurting. It was like someone was whipping you.
Oh,
so people were just like in the containers hiding. And then when it was your heat, you would put your helmet on and run out as quick as possible. Put your wet and it was like so funny because, it's so cold there in the morning. You can't feel your fingers. They get numb and you can't open and close them. I know it's crazy. You're waiting there. You're trying to do freestyle and usually, trying to open and close your hand, like get the hands. And it was just, I found it so hard to just grab the wing and do everything because it was just like my hands were so cold, so were my feet. It's just, it's pretty full on conditions, but it's a great place, I really like it. I won another event there where I shared a first place with the lad.
Oh, beautiful.
It's when the innovation came out. Yeah. I was learning some new tricks.
So what is innovation for people who are just starting to follow the tour?
So innovation is like a brand new trick that the judges haven't seen. So it's never been done in competition before. And so it can be anything, everyone's just doing different rotation and it's like they can go backward, forward, anything you think of, it's going to be cool. And not like any tricks that's on the trick list, it's going to be called innovation and they can times it. If it's an inverted innovation, it's going to be times by 1.3. And if it's flat, like horizontal, so you're not going inverted, then it's going to be times 1.2. So it's quite a big, if you get 7.8, if the judges give you a 7.8 for the trick, they do the multiplication, it's over 9, which is pretty crazy.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So if it's something they haven't seen, so like in this one, we had front flips into 1080s. Was that the most innovative trick that you saw at this competition?
Well, there's a difference. So we got combos too. So what combos are is when you land a trick and then you've got like the fold. Usually we've got all these folds that are really poppy. So as soon as you land a trick, it just wants us to pop us out. And so all these combos are is when you pop out again out of the water after you landed the trick. So imagine you do a front flip, you're landing, you touch the water. The fold is going to pop you out of the water and then you start doing tricks in the air again and then land again. So we're calling those combos. And so what Chris has done is he did a front flip and then landed. Then he did a 360 in the air, landed, comboed out again. So he then went up in the air, 360'd, landed, then 360'd again and landed. It was pretty crazy. I haven't seen that I was like, whoa, he's got crazy pop. I was like, what's this guy on? Get me, what's he eating? What's he drinking? Just get me on that.
Tacos. Lots and lots of tacos.
Yeah.
So how long do you think until somebody else can pull that off? Is that something that you think you could do?
Yeah, but a bit of practice. But I feel it's such a hard trick with such a high risk for not a very good reward, They gave him a 10, but for sure, if you don't do it as clean as him, then they're not going to score as well. And they've been telling the athletes that if you do a sloppy like 360 when you land or sloppy 360 in the end and you land it nicely or anything, they're just going to take loads of points off. So I'm more focusing on the innovation part, but also just trying to get consistency like Chris, just get a trick that I'll know that score high the whole time, Like I've been pretty much getting these 1080s. I've been doing quite a lot of 1080s and I'm trying to get them a lot. I get them every now and then, but it's pretty hard trick, but it scores so well. So it's a good risk, for a good reward.
I see what you're saying. Okay. So you can kind of guarantee yourself some secure points and then you can try something afterwards.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
If you think about it, like there's really good riders out there. I could say loads who, would beat Chris any day if they had 25 minutes and infinite tricks because they would just do some crazy stuff and they would land it, And Chris would probably do some crazy stuff too, but there's this like Malo, Bastian that have come up with these tricks. You're like, whoa, but they haven't worked consistent and it doesn't work in all conditions. And that's where Chris kicks in and he's like, I've got 3 tricks that I was going to score so well I'm gonna, and everyone else is gonna struggle because, they're gonna come and get some tricks, but they can be lucky once or twice, get this innovative trick, but they're never gonna really beat me. And so he's smart, He knows how to compete. Loads of people have said that, He's not got like that crazy, where he's doing all the crazy tricks. He is doing crazy tricks, but he just knows when to do them and how to do them.
Yeah. There's an art to competing, right? Like how to do, what to do. Like how do you find there's people on shore that are helping you and kind of adding up points and that? Like, let's walk through that kind of aspect of things, because it's completely different than joyriding.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So we usually have 7 to 8 attempts. 4 tricks count. So you have to land half of the tricks that you do. So you've got 8 trick attempts. So, and usually a lot of athletes keep it safe from the first 2 tricks, get some points on the board, just so they can then start playing with a bit more. Now they've got 6 attempts. So they've got a bit more attempts to try some new things. And then I know a lot of people now have caddies. It's really important to know if you're winning or losing, because it could just come out. If you're winning, why would you do all this in high, like end tricks and like injure yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Or
very true.
Do stuff that you could, or do that stuff that you don't really need to do. But imagine you're losing by 0 point something, and you just have to do a simple front flip. Simple front flip, but you think that you're losing or you think you're winning or losing, and you're going to just go full send. So yeah. I know a lot of people, and myself, someone will tell me, okay, I'm winning by this amount. What should I do? Okay, I think to remind, okay, big front flip will get me 7 points. Let's get a 7 point on the board, and that will keep me ahead of him for now. And then it's how we play. It's completely different than free ride.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just thinking all the time. You think, okay, so he just landed that trick. What's he going to score? What should I do next? And it's just an ongoing, also mental battle. You're trying to keep yourself calm and show your competitor that you're calm, and that you're confident to win it. But in the inside, you're feeling, I'm so scared. If I lose this, it's going to be the end for me. So it's interesting.
Yeah, no, definitely. How do you communicate with shore? Is it through a watch? Is it through mic? Is it through just hand signals like baseball? Like I think I had Bo was saying that some of them use like baseball, like steel third signals and stuff like that, and they got their tricks mapped out with that.
Yeah, that's what me and my dad use.
Sick.
To play a clock. So we use like right hand is winning, left hand is losing. Then we just so if it's left hand up, then it means that you're losing by very little. Left hand down means you're losing by a lot. Then winning by a little, winning by a lot.
Oh, cool. Okay. That's simple.
Yeah, it's pretty important. Yeah, it's super simple, but also works really well because, usually people go like this, 1, 2, but it doesn't change much, People go like 1 as you're winning, 2 as you're coming second. But with the baseball thing, it shows you if you're winning by lots or winning by little. So yeah, it's, it's interesting. And my dad came out with this ages ago, and then, there's other people doing it. But then more people started joining it, taking it more professionally.
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. So how do you look at the mental aspect of jumping into a competition? Like, how are you able to kind of work through that process of keeping fun? Because that's what Cash was saying, right? I said I focus a lot on fun, but there's also the competitive side of things. So how do you manage that in the water and stay calm and that kind of thing?
Yeah, I get pretty stressed when I'm about to go out of the competition. So I always listen to music, don't really chatting to other people. I'll chat to my dad, and I just think there, stay calm. I usually just think of friends that I'll be riding out with. Okay, I'm gonna get out for a session with my friend. We're gonna have fun, and then I go out there and I then get my tricks down. And if something goes wrong, I just take 3 deep breaths. I feel just 3 is just the one. Just gets me calmed, and then I go out and I'm like, okay, let's go back. Let's just not think about tennis, and let's just think about a normal session with your friends, a fun one. Like when you go to Tarifa and you're sending it with your friends and you're just all having a laugh. I just think about that. Go do my trick and hopefully land it, you know what I mean? Well, there's no hopes, I guess. Yeah.
You giver. Yeah, that makes sense. How do you manage school and friends and travel and all of that? Because that's a super cool experience, like we talked about. But how do you manage your time and stuff with everything?
Well, yeah, it takes out a lot of your schedule. You know, I mean, the competitions is usually a week, but usually go a week before the train. So yeah, to be honest, I do online school. So I've got this really great online school from England, and there's 1-to-1 or a few more students, like maybe maximum 5 students, and it's an actual teacher. And we just work till about 2:00 Spanish time, and then I'm at home, and my dad works at home too, so it's great for both of us. Eat lunch, go out in the water, and then do homework in the afternoon. And that's
cool.
usually my schedule. And the great thing about online school is I can go usually most places, and I can always do my classes. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I can always do a few classes, and it just helps. You know what I mean? It's just a lot of schools, schools that you have to go in person don't really allow competing that much. They're really strict, you know, especially Spain and England. You actually get fined in England if you take more than a few days off in actual school. So they're super strict.
Okay.
And the school's really, open about it because they can say, okay, we can give you more lessons one day than imagine I have a competition there 2 weeks. We're going to give you a lot more lessons this week because we know that, I'm classes in competition, so that I can fill up my education that week, fill up the gap, and then I'm competing and I'm back, and I haven't missed anything. And it's great,
Do you find that feels a lot more of a natural way of learning, like incorporating it into your normal life rather than you incorporating into it?
Well, it's quite hard, to be honest, because you got to be quite independent. You could just be on your phone or just messing around in the class. There's no teacher. Well, they can't really see you. I mean,
yeah.
But yeah, I feel like, it's quite a big change, because you're not with friends. Well, when you're in school, you're not hanging around with friends. I'll go down to the beach and hang out with them, but it's quite a bit different. You could feel yourself quite lonely. I know a lot of other athletes who are in my school who feel lonely doing it, but to be honest, with my sport, I'm so determined to do well that and I enjoy it so much. I couldn't think of doing another sport without wing. I just love the water. I would do anything. I'd try to do downwind. But the wing just opens up a whole different thing. Just opens up my mind and chills me out. It's like I know it's like my zen.
Coming from at the start where you're like, I'm not touching this sport. It's funny how stuff like that happens, eh?
Yeah. It's crazy because, and also the development's crazy and everything's crazy, when you think about it. Also, when you get older, I have to think about like job, university, and it's just great to go out in the water and just not think about that, what I mean? You're just out of anyone. No one can talk to you except your friends. And when they talk to you, they're talking about what tricks you're going to do and the funny face plants you've had and that trick you've done, it's just, you feel really great about it. And it's a refreshing, I feel like when I've done a hard work of school, and I go out on the water, I feel like I'm fully energized back, The water just opens me up there, It just makes me feel fresh again.
Yep, that's definitely something that it does and helps reset everything from mental to emotions to body. And so how's, like you had mentioned, good food, you had mentioned working out. What is it that you do in those areas that helps you stay fit and limber and that kind of thing?
Well, I think it's really, really important. Now we've seen that people who are small but also agile in the sport doing really well because you just don't need that much weight except if you're on 60 plus knots. But
that's true for all of us. I would have died.
So, I think it's important to not have too much muscle, but sufficient muscle to have fun, free ride, but then it's also important to have great mobility, and also really important is injury prevention. this is a big factor because an injury can take you out for months. In months, the sport changes,
That's very
already,
true.
It changes every 2 weeks. So, you're already behind a month and it takes a hell of a lot of time to get back to the level. So yeah, it's really important to have this injury prevention, done. So it's great to do some weights, but not too much weights, flexibility, just always keeping active, it's great. The trampoline's really good for your knees. Biking's good for your knees too. Swimming, everything active, which doesn't include too much pressure on knees, because think about it, a lot of jumping on the wing is a lot of falling and landing on the board, and it can create quite a bit of pain. So I think it's great to build the muscles around your knees, but also to keep them flexible so they can really squat down if you had a hard landing,
Yeah, that's true. So because you're foot strapped, so how does throwing like a front flip on that and landing a bit awkward, like how's that on your body? Because I found winging, even strapless, when you're like your foil comes out of the water, some of the craziest wipeouts I've ever had, just like full on, like it's insane. So how is it for people who might never jump and flip? Like, how are the wipeouts?
I mean, the wipeouts, you have like the sense when you're going to wipe out that you cut up in the ball, but sometimes the wipeouts are going to be bad. I've had some pretty bad wipeouts where my knee actually really hurts because I've twisted my knee because it's stayed on the strap and my whole body's just moved. Or other situations where one foot comes out and the other one stays in, and the other one doesn't want to come out either. Yeah. So you're either thinking, should I put the other one in or should I take the other one out? So you've got like this. And the worst thing is when the whole foil is up in the air, it's flipped, so you can see the foil wink. Just you can see it right from your eyes, and so you're like, what should I do? And that's when it gets really sketchy too, and also when it can really hurt your ankle and every other things. But loads of people, get actually injured by the wing, just because it can pull the muscles from your shoulders if you.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
Front flipping gives you quite a big pull, and if you're not ready for it and your muscles are not ready for it, you're pulling a muscle 100%. So you got to be careful, and you should always limber up. Like maybe you don't do. Like sometimes I don't really do any warm-ups on the beach, but I'll always have a 10-minute warm-up on the water. So I'll do some easy jumps, carve around, just limber my body up, so just get it nice and warm. And then I'll just start with some easy tricks like back flips, front flips, and then move into the back moves. Just harder tricks, and it just limbs up the body. Then you're ready to have your session,
Yeah, that's a very good point, actually, because you're not going to go, and it changes based on everything, right? Wind direction, wind strength, whether or not it's waves, chop, all that kind of thing. So you got to practice your tricks in every single kind of condition, every single kind of strength.
Yeah, exactly. If there's like, so like that, if it's it's going to be strong wind, then you got to train strong wind and flat water. But it can always change. So it's always good to go out in every condition. I mean, I've been out 10 to plus 50 knots, and it's just good to show, like to see that what tricks you can do. Are you comfortable? You can be uncomfortable in that wind and you say, I don't like that, or uncomfortable in the waves, I mean, I don't know if you saw Cape Verde, but the waves were massive. Mm-hmm. I'm sure those people were like, oof, maybe a bit too big for me. And it's just, it's great to see where your boundaries are, because then you know where to push them. And maybe you don't want to push them, but it's always great. I think it's always great to push a bit.
What keeps you motivated to do that? Is it the fun aspect of things? Is there a bit of competition in there? Like, that's one question that Matt asked from the team. It's like, he was just curious about that.
No, I'm a super competitive person. I hate losing. I'm so bad at it. I mean, when I was younger, my dad said I'd hate losing, and I would hate, getting things taken off me. So I'm really competitive, but I know loads of people do it for fun, and they also feel like, it's like a lot like when you do maybe the first time you do a backflip. Wow, so excited, but after the 100th time you do it, you're like, I'm a bit bored. Let's do another trick, So I feel like the same thing happens to everything in big waves. Once you're used to those big waves, you're like, oh, what? It's normal for me. let's, push on a bit. And I think that's just in most human.
I think that's natural.
Most humans. Yeah, it's just natural in them. To just like be like, yeah, I need to push a bit harder because I'm getting bored. You don't get that rush anymore. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're riding down a big wave, you're like, you feel that rush, and it's an addictive rush. You want to keep getting that rush, I think.
Yeah, you're running away from a giant or you're doing something. Yeah, like how do you find the speed of, because foiling makes things look bigger, right? When you're on swell or on waves, like compared to if you were surfing on a basic whatever, or even kiting on a surfboard. Do you find that foiling makes things look bigger and faster?
Yeah, it looks way bigger. And it feels way dangerous too. You're like, he's got a knife. It feels like a knife under him. And, you think about it, you're on this like thing that can go so fast. It's what everyone's like, it's what like America's Cup all about, because they move so much faster. That's what they want to use. And, no one knows how fast these things can really go. It's still work. People are still working like how fast can we get these things? And I feel like they go so fast, but they're so efficient too. So when you're in a wave, it feels like, I don't know how to describe it, but it feels like snowboarding, but snowboarding on the air. Do you know what I mean? It's really weird, and it's actually really nice. And it's like a whole different experience, and it makes the wave look way bigger because you're, surfing, you can get used to much slower, and it doesn't look that bad. But if you think about it, if you're on the top of the wave with an 85 centimeter mast, it looks like you're, if it's a 4 meter wave and you're with an 85, it looks like a 6 meter.
You're right, actually.
You're like, how am I going to get down this? How am I going to get down this? Such incredible speeds, So you're thinking like, you're looking down, you're like, it feels like a roller coaster, you're at the top of it, and you're like, should I go down? And then you have to like push yourself down. And then it's like, I've had pretty bad wipeouts where I was in Cape Verde and
shit, at Punta Preta or?
No, I went up to Boa Vista, a really nice island. Really like was with Wesley Peter, one of my good friends.
Oh, cool.
And there's a sick place there, and there was some massive waves, like the biggest waves I've ever been out on. And I took my foil. I took a 400 prototype from Armstrong.
That's little.
Yeah, it was a mid-aspect MA, and it's so cool. And I thought I'd never use it, but I bought it, and I went down this thing. And all I could say is I was at the top of the thing, and these things were barreling, so they were steep. And I was at the top of it, and I was like, I'm getting munched. And you get like this picking up feeling where you feel like the waves is picking you up, and I just couldn't go down. I was just like, the wave was just kept sucking me up. And I think I fell from the top of the wave with my foil just the whole way down. My wings survived. I don't know how that happens. Yeah. I mean, I had pretty bad, I was pretty scared. We smashed by 2 waves. It was about 4 meters, but it was on a quite skinny reef, so. And the jet ski can't get in there because we're the jet ski, but the jet ski, do. So I had to get my wing, and I laid on my wing, and I surfed these things out of the reef. I don't know how I did it, but I was just lay on my wing, pull
like
up
a crazy
the
carpet
handle, and it would just be like a surfboard. Like a crazy carpet. It was so cool. And so it's like I got out, luckily.
That happened to be here in Mexico, 2 weeks ago. I was getting too close to the beach, and there was some nice surf, and it just started to I saw some white water peaking, and I had gotten too close to shore. I was like, so I had to dive off. Board takes me to shore. I fall, and then I landed on it like a crazy carpet, and the ocean just spit me out. It was pretty funny. Yeah. Just spit me out, and it took me 20 minutes to find a way back in because it was beach breaking, but nothing broke. So nothing broke for you either, I guess. No?
Hey, they made these things quite durable now.
It's surprising.
To be honest, I didn't see much wings getting exploded by the average Joe, but I explode them because I'm doing tricks and my fault just lands on them. There's nothing you can do about that. But on waves, they're great. I think I've only broken once my wing on a wave, and I haven't broken any Armstrong wings, which just shows it's pretty good. I think it's important to have a bit of flex. A lot of people think, oh, if you pump it up a lot, it's gonna not break, but actually it's gonna break because it's such high pressure. It's just gonna. So I think if you're going on big waves, I'd recommend to not pump it too much.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So it can,
a bit of breathing room.
Because if not, if you think about it, yeah, exactly. Just like a kite. Imagine you leave your kite the whole day in the sun; it's just gonna explode. So if you think about it, if someone tries to push or wing it, and you've got a lot of pressure, and then it's just gonna try and find a way to escape. And so yeah, I think it's if you're gonna on big waves to release the air. Same thing if it's pretty hot. But I mean, to be honest, loads of people think that they have to follow, it says 9 psi, so I have to pump it at 9 psi. But to be honest, loads of professionals pump their wings to 13, 14 psi. And it shows a big difference. Yeah, it's crazy. And difference is that when we finish, we deflate it. A load of people will just go off, have a beer, have their lunch, forget about their wing, and then it'll explode, you know what I mean? So, if you are going to pump in high pressure, then remember every time you're going to finish and you think you're going to go for 20 or 30 minutes or more, deflate the wing if it's hot conditions, you know what I mean? But yeah, you can pump your wing a lot more than what people expect they can,
And you haven't seen too many blow up at like over exceeded pressures?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen some pump their wing in the competition and they just kept pumping. I think they were there for about 10 minutes. And then I don't think they were concentrating and they just went, oh. I mean, it's like, it sounds like a gunshot. You're like, you just, you try and go down. You think someone's coming to raid the container of 40,000, It's like probably like, it's so expensive, the gear. So
yes,
the containers must be worth a lot.
Yeah.
So no, but, it's funny because, whenever you hear it, you're like, well, what's happening,
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. You duck a little bit. Talking about Armstrong, what's your favorite setup from those guys that you're riding right now?
Oh, yeah. So that's a pretty interesting question. Actually, loads of people ask me. So I'm using an MA65, which is probably my favorite front wing ever because it works for everything. I mean, everything. Cash, crazy guy on the waves, doing crazy stuff on the wave. He's using the same foil as me. So my eyes, I'm doing crazy tricks, big front flips, back flips, and everything else. So it just shows that it works for both. Bowie loves it too. I mean, anyone who gets on it and knows how to ride a foil loves it because it's just nice. It's fast, nimble. It's what you want from a 600. You don't want something, there's wings that are stable, and an 800, M800 is really stable. The MA65 is nimble, agile, and fast. That's what you want. And that's what I've been looking for. And it's been what I'm using. And then I pair it with a Speed 180. Usually put blue shim, but when I go out on waves, red shim. I follow Cash's setup. Then I use 60 fuse. I think it's the best fuse because it keeps you stable. You get loads of pop out of it. I feel like you get loads of pop out of the 60 fuse. You do get a lot of pop from the 50, but I feel like you get a bit more from the 60. And it's just more stable. So I use the 60, the titanium one. I haven't broken it yet, which is great. Then I use the 86 performance mast, 86, it's 86 centimeters.
Okay.
And the performance masts are game changers.
Yeah, how do you find? Because I haven't, I'm riding an older Armstrong kit. I have one of the original 1550s, and I'm gonna upgrade eventually. But what do you find compared to the first gen mast to this performance mast? What do you feel from a rider? What difference does that make?
Well, to be honest, I feel like it's I feel like it's a bit more stiff. It's way stiffer than a normal mast.
Okay,
you can tell it. I mean, when you're especially carving on the waves or doing freestyle, you're landing, you can really feel the mast bend a bit. Any mast, any cover mast, they always bend a bit. But the performance mast doesn't bend as much. It's just a bit more faster through the water. I feel like it's a bit more efficient. And hasn't broken yet. I have broken quite a lot of carbon masts in the past, but I haven't broken a performance mast yet. Which shows a pretty good sign. I've been using it for a year.
Good to know.
So
it's good to
show
know.
Something.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, and what size of boards and stuff are you riding?
So I'm using a Wing 58 liter board. It's the Wing FG, a great board. I weigh 68 kilos.
Okay.
So
Like
I don't know
150.
what that's in stone.
Must be like 150, 155 or something. Okay, close to, I think
Something
I'm
like
150.
Yeah. So I mean, it's quite big for my size. You know, to us in freestyling, you really need this kind of lead wedge to get that pop back for the lighter wind. So it's all my go-to board, you know. And then I would use the 48 full wave, which is just really nice too.
Okay.
So that's my setup. And then I use an XPS.
Yeah, the new wings, right?
Yeah, the booms.
Yeah.
So they're interesting. You know, a lot of people are asking about it. So yeah, the XPS with booms, and everyone loves the XPS. It's been a really famous wing. You know, everyone loves it because it's stable, but really great in the waves, and it's a really good all-round wing. You know what I mean? So we've put booms on them. Try them out. You know, we haven't changed anything on them. Just put booms, and they're working perfectly well. And so, yeah, some new things are coming, you know, some new, interesting things coming from Armstrong. And I think a lot of people are going to be like, whoa, you know, that's pretty cool. So they're always innovating, you know what I mean? They never stop. I mean, my phone doesn't stop. They always send me pictures and I get super excited and they get super excited. So it's super interesting because, you know, everyone has different, like Cash is thinking about wave and I'm thinking about freestyle, but also a bit of wave. Bo is thinking of both. And so when they send us these things, it's great to hear what other people think, you know? Like, so Cash is like, oh, this thing's got great pop, but it's lacking a bit of turning. So then they tune it up a bit for him. And then they say, okay, Xavi, do you want to try it too? So now I try it. I'm like, oh, this is a great wing. It's also great for freestyle and wave. So this could be the next, you know, MA. So it's great to test and, you know, they're really good. They're pretty fast. You know, you give them feedback 2 weeks later, new foil. You know, and I live in Europe, they live in New Zealand, so it's pretty quick.
Yeah, no kidding. How does it feel to be part of their R&D? You're ever going to be put into the history books as a little R&D. That's pretty fun, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have expected it when I was younger. I'd be like, you know, because I used to be with Dutin for kiting, and I was like, oh, you know, would it be so cool to try all these prototype stuff? But now I think about it, you know, it's so fun to just get into these little things. And it's crazy how little things can change it. Like, you know, the wing, like how big the leading edges or what kind of canopy you use, like the weight, everything. And like, you know, every little thing changes the weight. And it's pretty crazy because everyone thinks, oh, you know, just do that. And you just put a Lula on it and it'll work 10 times better. But actually, you got to know how to work with a Lula. And the canopy is different. And also, you know, the average Joe is not going to want to spend so much money on, you know, such expensive wings. So you got to think about that too. And you got to think about how they're going to trash it. They're going to probably drag it through the floor, you know. So you got to think about everything there. And it's interesting because I think about give me the best performance wing, and they think about, okay, what would be the best wing for the market? So we're looking at two different things, but then I'm helping them create a good wing, and then they're getting that wing, which I like, and that Cash would like, and someone else likes. And then, okay, let's do a few adjustments that will help for the public, you know, let's make it more durable. Let's make it this thing so it's easier for the public, you know. And so I think it's great not to only think about myself, but also to think, okay, what's the other people want? And so, yeah, I think it's interesting, you know.
It definitely is. Yeah. Yeah, no, that like trying prototypes of anything, I think everybody regardless of how old they are in the wind industry, it's like, oh, that's a proto. Like you get to try that out, which is pretty amazing. But then also thinking about everybody else getting into this amazing sport and keeping it affordable. Like that was a really good point that you made.
Yeah, exactly.
Because not every kid or not every parent is going to be able to afford to buy $4,000 or $5,000 worth of gear. And so if they can do it that way, that would be definitely, it's nice to keep that in mind because it's not a cheap sport to get into.
No, it's really expensive, man. If you want top gear, then the things, you know. And it's great because, you know, Armstrong just come out with their aluminum gear, and I've had a few goes, and my dad's using it, and it's great. You know, it's light, but not light as carbon, But the great thing is that, you can upgrade to you can buy any front wing you want from the range. And then when you want to upgrade, you're like, oh, I feel like I want to upgrade to a carbon mast, and you don't have to buy new front wings. You just plug and go, And I think it's great that Armstrong are thinking about, the guys who are just trying to get into the wing, not like thinking about the guys who already want wing. They're thinking about, okay, we think we can make our wings and foils great for the beginners. So we're going to make it cheap, we're going to make it so they can come in, they can enjoy it, and then they can get addicted to it, like everyone else. Everyone loves it when they hop on because it's just so easy, but just so fun. And then they can move up the ranks, and they can move up easily. They can change their board, then they can change their wing, they can do it slowly at their own pace, But I think it's important that every person knows if they want to do it or not, and not spend so much money on it and then think, oh, I'm not going to do it as much as I would what I thought I was going to do. So I think it's important that
it's very true.
How Armstrong have thought, okay, aluminium cheaper, still work great. My dad's using it and he's 90 kilos and he hasn't broken anything and he's still learning how to jump. And I think it's just great that that they've just made a beginner range, for beginners.
Yeah, Cash and I briefly talked about it because his dad's learning now. I think he was going to take him out foiling last time. So that's a great concept, especially because you can then just swap stuff and keep stuff and you don't have to completely buy new. I like that. Yeah, no, overall, super impressed with those guys. I love the fact that the team is so happy and energetic, and they work hard though. Oh man, do they work hard. But you have to.
Oh yeah. I mean, like it's 12-hour difference, and I think when I talk to them in the morning, it's about 10 o'clock at night and they're still at the office, still doing all the work. And it just shows that, Army's a very dedicated man. He'll try and do everything to make sure that everyone loves the experience of foiling. And I think that's what I like about him. He's that madman who will, that will try and get everyone onto it, and he knows how to do it. He's just smart about it. He's like, okay, let's get everyone onto foiling and let's get them hooked. And we know that, our product's going to help them get them hooked. And I feel like it's just like important to have a great manager who also foils and wings, so they understand the feeling. Because if you think about it, if you have a boss who doesn't really know how to do, but is thinking about the marketing only side or the sales side, then he doesn't understand your feeling. He doesn't understand what's happening, But I feel like if your boss knows what he's saying, and when he tries out the prototypes, when he gets that excitement, when he knows, oh, that prototype's working perfect, then I think it's a really great connection to have, because then you can talk about it and you can laugh about it and you can say, okay, these are the mistakes, and he understands and I understand. Yeah,
that's very true. It makes it a lot more fun instead of just money related. Like, that's cool. Well, I'm happy you're having a really good experience with them, and congrats for getting a full sponsor. That's amazing. So congratulations for that.
Super stoked.
Yeah, I would be too. What's next for this year? Are you attending as many tour stops as you can? What's your game plan for this year? Because it's just starting up.
Well, to be honest, we've got quite a lot of events this year. So it looks like we've got a busy summer. So it'll be training and going to events, and then hopefully trying to get to America, Hood River, do some training there.
Oh, cool. When are you going there?
About August, we'll be trying to hook on to the AWSI, help Armstrong and everything.
Oh, cool. I think I'll be there. So I'll meet you in September.
Oh, we can meet up.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to see some double backflips for me.
Oh, yeah. I'll start working on them tomorrow.
Yeah. Get on it, because I want to see them, pretty.
Oh shit, people. Oh shit. All right. So what's your goal for 2024 competition wise? You gonna go to as many as you can?
Yeah. Aiming to get to all of them. Hopefully getting podium. I've been pretty close, but just not enough. So hopefully this year I'll do a bit better. I'm aiming for podium. It's always been a dream to get up on the podium at the end.
Yeah, that would be pretty, but you're getting close, man. You're not that far away.
Well, everyone's just increasing, so it's scary, You're like, you look at a kid who's 12 years old and, well, 17 in a month, he's just gone crazy. So, but yeah, I'm always trying to improve, help help with my competing, strategize it, make it better. And I just want to have fun, but also, I want to do good. I'm always aiming to do good in the competitions, but always enjoy myself. It's always important to have fun, because if you don't have fun, then you just lose the interest. I mean, that's what loads of athletes say. Sometimes the coaches just push them too hard and they just lose interest because they're not having fun anymore. And I think it's always important to have fun. When you have those bad sessions, which everyone has, where everyone has, then I think, it's time, I feel like if I'm having a bad session, then I just have fun. I slide around, catch some waves, do some big jumps, laugh with my friends, and then get back to my training, you know what I mean? Because I feel like if you're having a bad session and you getting more frustrated and everything, then you're just making it worse for yourself. I think you should just stay calm, enjoy every session, because,
Yeah, and we're pretty fortunate that we even get to do this, right? Like, not everybody has access to gear. Not everybody is physically capable of doing this. Some people get hurt really badly and then they can't do this. So it's a great attitude to have, and it's a really good attitude and things to get out to everybody and just let them know that it's fun first. And yeah, that's a good motto. Yeah. Huh. All right.
Yeah, I mean, it's important.
True. That's true. All right. So podium is your goal this year. Anything else you wanted to touch on while you got the microphone?
Well, actually, maybe I'm hoping to get into some big waves and get better into the waves. I'm hoping Cashy Boy can tell me a few tips, because I really want to improve into the waves. I think it's really important. I think it's important to have a bit of it's a bit of everything. A bit of waves, freestyle, big air, because it's cool to have. So I'm hoping to get some big waves and hopefully doing some photo shoots with all my teammates. I'm really hoping to get a sick photo shoot with all those guys and shoot all their new products. And photo shoots are really cool, with friends and teammates, because you get to go out on sick locations with the new gear, absolutely extending it and pushing each other. You know what I mean? So I can't wait to go out on a photo shoot with all Cash, Bowie, other great teammate riders from Armstrong, because I know it's going to be sick, and they make their videos look really cool.
Yeah, I've seen some of those, and well, I guess we all do on Instagram, but yeah, that must be a really fun experience for you guys, because you all fly to a spot together, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, cool.
I haven't been on one yet, but I know it will happen in the future, and I know it's going to be something I'll remember for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Okay, you will do that. And are you going out on the water today, or have you gotten on today?
Yeah, I went out with a lot of the competitors. A lot of them are here. We're all training hard, but we also have a friendly, we'll chat, laugh in the water, but we also train. But yeah, it's always a laugh when we get out of the water. We always laugh with each other, eat food, talk about new tricks, talk about what's going to happen in the future. So yeah, it's fun, because it's not as competitive as people think it is. We're still all friends. We still try and push this sport together. It's still a small sport which could be created into a massive sport. With the foiling, it could be a massive industry, and I think that it could be really, really cool if we all push this sport and to see how hard, how big can it really get? Can it be something that's normal for people? Because when people see it, they get that wow factor, because they don't know what it is. But I feel like it's important if we can push it all around social media, show people, show how interesting it is. You can go on any conditions. I mean, I know people who are now going on 6 to 8 knots with downwind boards, or light wind or wing boards.
Yep.
Which is epic. People would kill, themselves, like if they were kiters or windsurfers. If they found out that this was happening like 20 years after, they'd be like, no, wait, that's not going to happen. But it's true, and there's people doing it, and they're enjoying every session out there. You know what I mean? So I think it's important.
Yeah, no, definitely. It played a huge part in my life. It's played a huge part in all of our lives, and that's part of what we're doing here. All of us is just helping more people connect with that fun thing, so that they can have a more fun day as well, right? Because we're always happier after we've gone out in the water. And competition is one side of things, but also thinking when you're 90 years old, like, what are you going to be doing on the water when you're 90? I'm just curious to see what foils and stuff are going to, when Army is like 102, still pushing it. I'm curious to see what's going to come out in 5 years or 10 years. But
yeah, I think Chino's gonna be like a cruising foil. You know what I mean? A foil that it's so easy to get up. I don't think you just jump on the board, plus it takes off, and you're just at a constant speed. But yeah, everything changes really quickly. Every brand and is changing, and it's good. I like to see when brands are making new things, because then it pushes every other brand. It pushes Armstrong, Duotone, Gong, F1. It's great, because if no one pushes in the industry like the brands, then it would just be dead, because no one would push for the new product. So it's great that there's also a bit of competition between the brands. They're all still good friends. I know they are, because I know that I know the managers from Duotone, F1 and Gong, and I know they chat with everyone else's manager. And it's cool because they all do winging and kite surfing and windsurfing together. And yeah, I just think it's important that, that every brand is pushing, and they're just trying to create better things for the beginners, intermediates, advanced.
Yeah. I don't know what's going to be out next year, but hey, but anyways, like, I really hope that this contest goes well for you in like your home contest. I think that's going to be sick. I hope you have a really good time, and let us know. For those of you out there, you got to make sure to watch it. But yeah, let us know how it goes. And thanks a lot for taking the time today. I know you're busy, but hey, thanks for taking the time to chat with us today. And yeah, it was a good time. Hope you had fun.
Yeah, well, thanks for interviewing me. It's been a pleasure, talking with you. And it's been always interesting, to spread the word. And I can't wait to see what brings in the future.
Yeah, and just looking what Army comes out with, and then looking what everybody else comes out with as well. And the beginner stuff is huge, right? It was a little cumbersome and a little difficult a couple of years ago, but the easier and easier it gets. We're hoping that everybody who has a SUP has a foil too, and can just kind of enjoy that flying feeling, because that's as close to flying as we're going to get, I think.
Yeah, exactly. It's like flying a plane.
Just a little safer.
On top of a plane, But yeah, it's interesting how. Yeah, exactly. It's just interesting, like, how it's developing for the beginners. I know in about 2 years' time, it's going to be crazy. We're going to be looking at things, and we're going to be like, how was that even possible to be made? And then it's going to work perfect. It's just going to break the law of physics.
Well, for those who want to reach out to you or follow you, what's the easiest way for them to get in contact?
Well, it's great to get in contact with social media platforms. I'm quite active. So if you've got any questions about gear, what I recommend, I'll text you back. Also, if you guys got any tips, I can also help you with a few tricks. I'm hoping to do a few clinics
that's awesome.
Later in the year. So stay in chat with my social media, because maybe I'll be doing some few clinics. I'm not sure, but I want to help people progress too with the 360s, as they can be super easy with this. A few video analysis, and then a professional telling you how to do. So just either chat to me on Instagram, and then we can talk about it in WhatsApp. And I'm happy to give my advice out.
Oh, cool. That's really nice of you. What's your handle on Instagram?
It's at Xavi Corr.
xavi.corr. Okay. Beautiful. Thanks, brother. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing how the event goes. And yeah, thanks a lot for joining us again.
Yeah. Can't wait to have another interview like this.
Yes. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. And I hope you're enjoying your week.